So good afternoon. Today our webinar is on copying content. We are going to talk about copying an entire course from one Canvas shell into another Canvas shell, copying only certain materials from one Canvas shell to another Canvas shell, how to add people to make sure they have access to materials, and also how to make sure you can share videos with one another as well. So the purpose of this webinar are for any colleagues who potentially want to share materials between each other, or those who might have materials that they created in the past that they want to make sure they can reuse now as they're working to get their materials online. So let's talk about how to copy a whole course. One of the first things I want to mention is if it is your own course material that you are copying, then you already have the rights to all materials. And so as long as it is your own courses that we're talking about, you will be able to do all of the actions that I'm about to show you yourself. However, if you have material that a colleague is sharing with you, such as a colleague who's already been teaching online and says, go ahead and copy my course, use it as a framework to create your own, or maybe go ahead and copy my quiz so you don't have to create your own, that person is first going to have to give you access to their material via people. So I'm going to click on people on the left, and this particular action needs to be done by the person who is sharing the material. So if you are the one who is sharing with other colleagues, you would do this people step. If you are the one who is being shared with, your colleague would need to do this step. So if I were to click on people, there is a plus people button on the upper right. In people, you usually see the teacher and students who have been added automatically via banner. In this particular instance, I'm the only one because it's a sandbox, but the reason you have to manually add a colleague is because you will not have at this time had the colleague in that course probably, because they are not the teacher of this course. When I click on plus people, it's going to then allow me to put in my colleague's email address and then indicate what role I would like them to be part of. So one of the things that I want to mention is that it's very important that you add your colleague as a teacher, or they add you as a teacher temporarily to this course, because only the teacher role will have the copying permission from one spot to another. So if they add you as something else like observer or designer, that's not going to be good enough. You need to make sure you're added as teacher. If they are uncomfortable with that, then there are other workarounds you can maybe find for this, but ultimately this is the easiest way to do it. And of course, they can remove you after the fact if once you've copied the material, they want to take you out. Now, the system has recognized my email address and who I am, but be aware that there are colleagues who have alias email addresses. So, for example, I have a colleague who, when she became married, decided to change her last name, and so she now has a new email address with the university. But Canvas still only recognizes her original email address that she had in the beginning. So I just want to mention that that if you are putting in a colleague's email address and it's consistently not finding them, that the reason for that is because the alias is what's necessary. Once you've hit add users, it's going to send them an invitation to the course, or if your colleague is doing this, you will see an invitation. That invitation will come through your email, and additionally, you'll see that invitation on your dashboard. It'll be at the very top of the dashboard as an announcement that you have been invited into a course, and there will be a button that says accept, and you or your colleague, again, depending on who's doing the sharing, will click on accept to then enter the course. So that's the first step to make sure that everyone has access to all the materials. Again, if these are your own materials, you don't have to worry about this step, but if this is sharing between colleagues, someone will have to add the other person as teacher to be able to copy the materials. Now, once I have access to the materials that I want, I'm going to go to the Canvas course that I want to copy into. So you want to go to the Canvas course that the materials are landing in, essentially. Not the course the materials are in, but the course that you want to put them in, because we are pulling our copy into this course. I'm then going to go to the bottom of that course to settings on the left-hand side in navigation. And across the top are some different tabs, as well as down the right-hand side. And one of those tabs down the right-hand side is Import Course Content, and that's what I'm going to click on. Under Import Content, it's going to ask me to choose a content type. In this case, we are copying a Canvas course. We mentioned earlier if a colleague has a problem with adding you into their course as teacher temporarily, there is a way that they can export the course and you would then import it via this export package. But for most people, copying a course is perfectly fine. And once we've said to copy a Canvas course, there's going to be an entire list of all of the courses that you have access to. So I have access to quite a lot of these. Most of these are my own, and a few of them are from various colleagues. So I want to mention that if you're not seeing the course in here, it means that you were not added as teacher into that course. And so that's why you're not seeing the material that you want. I'm going to go ahead and look for a course that I can copy. If you can just one moment. Going down a bit. You'll notice that it's by semester, so if you're looking by semester, that's a little easier. A lot of mine are under default terms, so mine's a little bit messy. And then below that, it's going to ask you if you would like to import all content or specific content. Now, all content means the entire course. Keep in mind that when you're copying a course, you're only copying the course material. It will not copy over student data. So what that means is, let's say that I'm copying a spring semester course into fall, I don't have to worry about all of the students' discussion posts from spring showing up in my fall course, because Canvas is going to only copy over the discussions, not the actual answers, only the discussion prompts. So you don't have to worry about student data coming over. It will be exclusively the material. So I could say all content, or if, and I'm going to click this one to show how it looks, if I only want to pull over specific content, such as a quiz or just a few files or a particular assignment, anything like that, then I would, of course, select specific content. And one of the cool things I want to mention that Canvas can do is it can adjust events and due dates automatically, where you essentially put in the beginning and end dates of the old course and then the new course. I will mention that this function works really well from a fall semester to another fall semester, but it doesn't work as ideally for spring to fall, and it definitely doesn't work well for summer to fall, because obviously spring and fall have breaks in the semester at different parts of the semester, so you'll still have to do some manual adjusting. And summer is much shorter courses, so you probably have entirely different due dates. But if that's something that you're interested in trying and you have to adjust them manually anyway, you can certainly give that a try. Or you can also remove dates, as in, I don't want any due dates in there. I want to completely make them from scratch again so that there's no old ones accidentally lingering in there. Now, once I click Import, because I said to select specific criteria, notice that I now have a button that says Waiting for Selection. If I had said copy all content, it would have already started copying over. But because in this case I said some content, it's actually waiting for my selection. So when I click Select Content, it's now pulled up all the different types of content that I can pull over. So for example, the question bank, or for example, my discussion topics. Let's say I just want the discussions and nothing else. I'm going to check that box. And if I want certain pages, but maybe not all of them, I can click on the small arrow, and it'll then show me the pages. So if I only want a couple pages and not the whole list, that's something I can do as well. But I'm essentially checking the box down the various pieces. And once I've selected everything that I want and I hit Select Content, notice that it says that it's queued. And in a moment, it's going to start copying. See, it's running, and now there's a small bar showing me that it's copying. And once it's done, it's pretty fast, it now says completed. Now, you might have something such as issues come up. So Canvas is telling me something has not copied quite correctly. When I click on one issue, it will tell me what that issue is. So, for example, in one of the pages that I pulled over, it says that one of the links is not working, that there is a missing link. So what that usually means is that the link isn't linking correctly anymore. So when I click on this page, it can actually take me straight there so that I can investigate which link is potentially not working, and I'm sure that it's this link at the top. This isn't my course, or it could be one of these other links towards the bottom. Because some of these links are going to assignments that I didn't pull over, these links need to be updated, but that's something that I would probably keep in mind when I'm choosing what to copy over. But be aware, if you see issues, typically it's links that aren't working anymore that have broken, or if there's no issues, you will not see the issues piece come up. But again, it will show you exactly where you can go and find those issues. Now this is how we copy over course material that a colleague has shared with us or that we already possess and we need to pull over. One of the other things that colleagues may wish to share amongst each other are videos that they've made. And videos are the only thing that don't come over easily within this particular process. So I want to mention the My Media section, which is where Kaltura is connected and where faculty can make or upload various videos. Now, My Media is very specifically connected to each colleague. So what will happen is that anytime I click on My Media in any of my courses, I will only see the videos that are in my account. So even though I've copied material from another course, the My Media is still going to link to all of my Kaltura videos. So if I want to share one of these videos with a colleague, what I need to do is go into My Media. I need to then find the video that I wish to share. There will be a small pencil button to the right of whatever video it is I wish to share. When I click on that, it's going to take me into the edit mode for that video. There's a tab below called Collaboration. I can then add a new collaborator. I would do this probably via their email address. I would say enter the full UNC Charlotte email address to find them. Once again, please be aware that you may be using an older email address. You notice that once I started putting in an alias, it pulled up 3 different versions of my own admin, so that's why the full email address is important. You may have different people. Looking for Jules. And what I need to do is then select the permission. Typically, I would say select all 3 if you're sharing with a colleague. That way they can really truly use the video to the full extent. I think that that's the easiest to make sure that the sharing is going to go through completely. And then once I hit add at the bottom, that person now will see the same video in their My Media that I see in my Media. And remember, My Media is the same for every single course, so I'll be able to access that video now from any course that I'm in, as long as I'm in the My Media and in Kaltura. That's an account level setting as opposed to just a course level. That's everything we wanted to share today about copying material. I do want to mention to be very cautious about copy and paste. I've noticed that a lot of people are very tempted to try and highlight an actual page, or actually to highlight the modules themselves in Canvas and then try to copy and paste that way. That doesn't work very well, and even if you manage to get the copy and paste to function, it usually breaks most of the materials within it. So that's why we highly recommend using the settings and importing course content. It's going to pull everything over much cleaner and accurately. The one thing I do want to mention is that when you're in Pages, if you want to copy page material, open the page itself. And if I were to simply highlight the page materials within the page and copy and paste that actually, and copy and paste it to another page in another course, that actually does come over very cleanly. So if you don't want to go through the whole settings because you just need some of this material, like these first 2 questions, and I want to copy them to another page, that is something that actually copies over cleanly. But that is about the only item in Canvas that I would use copy paste. And even then, again, there are links in here. I do want to make sure once I've copied them that those links are still behaving properly. Anything linked inside one course may not link properly inside the other, and you may have to reestablish the links. All right. That's everything about copying content from one course to another.